Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for being prompt with the time. Um, I want to warmly welcome you to this afternoon's workshop. Um, Essentially, it's going to be practical. We are going to talk about how we can sustain ourselves as musicians beyond the making the music, beyond the performing the music, beyond making people happy when they hear us. How do we, for instance, use this as a basis for a career? How do we take ourselves? The most important thing, how do we find ourselves relevant for a longer period of time? This afternoon, we are going to have some special guests. He's on his way. Um, I think two more. Johnson is around, so he'll be sitting down very soon. And then Madam Grace Techidonko. Essentially, what they are going to do is share their experience. You know, as much as possible, we are going to make it, a question and answer, so that we can all learn together. We can learn from mistakes. For instance, share stories about what I've learned from teaching university music students, handling ensembles, and most importantly, working with my friends in the compound band. I'm sure Johnson will also speak to his experience with the Inchinchim band and essentially the Inchinchim field production. Uncle Bessa, who is the acting musical president, the Musicians Union of Ghana president. Amongst everybody on the table, he is the most experienced. And we are going to tap knowledge into how he has stayed relevant since the 1970s up to date. Madam Grace is also going to speak to the issue of handling young students, young musicians, budding musicians, particularly from a female perspective. One person I took out of my introduction is Mr. Joshua Brew. Josh is a PhD candidate at the Pittsburgh University in America. He was one of us. He was one of my students, a lazy one at that. He was always running away from me, but he seemed to always circle himself back to me. On the record. On record. Yes, and somewhere in 2018 or 2019, he worked on the topic career sustainability amongst musicians, and his case study was with Echam Kwame. Essentially, what he wanted to learn was how has Echam Kwame sustained himself since the 90s to date. And over a period of a year, he was able to produce a monograph which passed for his master's degree, on which he has built now, and he's pursuing his PhD. But what is unique about his research was that there were certain findings he made, and out of those findings he made certain recommendations. So today I think he's going to share some of the recommendations with us, and we are all going to have the opportunity as young musicians as we are to learn from his research, to learn from the speakers, and I'll be dropping in here and there. So without wasting much time, I want to invite Mr. Johnson to the specially prepared table. Josh just stepped out. He's bringing Uncle Mr. Simons. Madam Grace will be a little bit late, but hopefully she joins us before we are done. Maybe we should start with Mr. Johnson Amakuti. So he's going to tell us briefly about his his life. And when we say his life, we're talking about his music life and everything about Inchin. Just to give us the context within which he is working. And I should also point out that we have a seasoned sound engineers here in the presence of Mr. Kofi Kudonu, Samuel and there's Owusu Poku. We all know him as Ronaldo. And Buka just walked in. Wow. Yeah, so I think we are going to have a wonderful time sharing that experience. So Mr. Johnson, I'm a Zuke. I always say I'm a Kuchi, but I'm a Zuke.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Johnson Kofi Amezuke. Said BBTP. And okay, I'll be doing Tree and English together. So okay, so you take the English like that, yeah. Anyhow, anyway. So I'm part of a Chinchin band. I came to Accra to work with GBC band. So I was playing GBC before I got to form a Chinchin band. So yeah, that is basically about me. So if we are talking about Chinchin band, I started the band with only the players, like the keyboardist and then a drummer. Then we were playing for artists, so without singers. So I thought as much that, we need singers to add to the band. So at first the band was Pop Nation. Yeah, we used to play for upcoming artists. So I thought as much to get musicians, like singers, to add to the band. So I was Lawrence Tete. He introduced me to Podo and Albert. At that time, I think you were having a concert. Yeah, is it a concert? Yeah, a concert. Yeah. So I came and then I spoke to them about the vision that I had, because as young people coming up, I wanted us to just form a group that will live forever. So I told them about my ideas, and then they supported it, and we started the band. So that is about Chin. So we are 5-piece band, but the band is made up of the whole members are 8. We have the technical team, we have the social media people, and then the players as well. So that is about Chin. So I was invited here to talk about how I'm able to sustain in Chin band up till now. And it's not only me, it's about the team. So anything I say or talk about will be about the team and how we've been able to save or sustain the band till now. So first of all, I'll start by saying, as musicians, we are supposed to value the work that we are doing. Like football, instruments, you sing, whatever you do. As a musician, you produce, whatever you do, sorry, you are supposed to value it. And yes, I don't think you will know the worth of the work you are coming to do. You have to take the work as any profession, like senior doctor, senior will be like any profession, be a as a musician. I saw that some people when they say, "Oh, this is just music," yeah, so I'm doing it. But if you see it as your profession, as Dr. Akwe Juma from 6 to 9, and 6 to 6, any hours beyond me, and you to take your music career as the same job. Until senior doctor here, if you treat patients as senior, obey make sure some more patients know that is the same way you treat your music career now, and also be better. And then your vision as a musician, like Upe said, me who have mentioned, but a vision as a musician, we are so many, like but what you want to do as a musician, like your vision, and as concerning to connected to Inchin Band as a leader, you don't have to be a selfish leader in whatever you are creating. Like if you are creating a band or even as a single person in music, you don't have to be selfish. As in Yemfan said, Bibia Wupe, but anka waiting here bisa ideas na nyama onko fofoforo a ebetimi aboa na waiting akọ wani music career ni. And then you love what you do, no matter what you are doing. Love what you do as a musician. So when in Chinchin Band you share, it's not because of only business, it's not only because of profession, but because of the love we have for what we are doing. So we don't care putting everything aside. Sorry to say, if maybe or family issues, but when it comes to music, you have to put those things aside because you love your family, all right, but this is what you love to do. So when you are going to do it, you do it all out. And then we come to creating a brand as in Inchinchim, let's say Inchinchim as a whole. So Inchinchim Band, the brand about like what Inchinchim Band is about. So our name is part of the brand. So there are so many bands in Ghana, and I want to get a band. There are so many musicians in Ghana, and I want to be a musician. How do I, like, a bed in a me? And as a bed in a mejumana me tom, the product I'm about to sell will, like, people will buy. You have to get a name for yourself, and not any name, but a unique name. And then what you stand for. Because if you want to do, like, let's say, in Chinchin Band, what we stand for, we are a cover band. We do our songs, all right, but we are mostly a cover band for events and other things. I can say, oh no, I want to be a solo act, but I want to make traditional songs in Kwa, whilst other people are doing other songs. So that my products will go for being human. And then we can't just walk naked. So our clothing lines and all these things has to be involved in the branding. So that if Obi say we share recording, so these people are almost just anti. Like example, when you see a Krobo person wearing the traditional dress, beats and I before share, but we Krobo who say this is for Krobo people, this is for baby people, this so you have to also get those things. And then coming to my point number 2. First one was the creating a brand. So the second one is the teamwork. As in, if you are a band or a group, how like in Chinchin Band is managing right now. So it's like joining a team. If we're a musician and you feel like, oh, I want to be part of a team, like a team, so that you join a team. Teamwork in here, because but so before you can share ideas together. So teamwork is the best thing. So you join a team, and when you join a team, we decide together as a team whatever we are doing. they decided to get that. So if we get a gig right now as a Chinchin band, we just, oh, Charlie, we have a gig. The person say this and that. Should we play or not? Oh, I'm not feeling fine. I can't play. Okay, then let's find another person to play that gig. Chinchin band is not going. As teamwork, we decide together on everything that we do. And then we because we understand what we are doing together, the vision that we have, we live the vision. So we know that today we are supposed to record maybe our song, because we've discussed that tomorrow or today we record the song maybe at 4 p.m. When it's time, nobody calls you. Relating to because you love your work. Previously, as I said, nobody calls you, and I think that's also helps to sustain, like has helped to sustain our business. And then, as I said, the third point will be your product, the product we are selling. Now, we know what product we want to sell. We want to sell a cover band in Ghana. So we are a cover band, although we have our songs. So that is our product. How do we sell the product to people? Now, the kind of songs we do only Ghanaian songs, or do we do other songs? Yeah. So you find yourself in like the kind of songs you want to do, the kind of music you want to do, and then how do you want to sound? And Chichim could be like, like 10-piece band, but we chose, we want to be a 5-piece band that sound at least like a 5-piece band. So when you are taking Chichim, you don't expect 12-piece band, you expect 5-piece band. So that is another point. And then you create your audience. Since you are selling a product, let's say I'm selling a pineapple. Some people don't eat pineapple. So you get particular people that eat pineapple, that you give them pineapple. So my product as a musician, the kind of songs I do, and you'll be an it's not compulsion. So the kind of songs I do, I gather them, I know the audience that I have. So I know that if I'm doing an event or I'm having a show, at least I have my audience, the people that would like to listen to me. So you create your audience from there, then make, just as a musician, we can make our music enjoyable. Not Ghana, they do like us enjoyable, not say yes sir, but not only say yes sir, but to make the music enjoyable, so that product the person won't buy the product and then just say, oh, like I didn't go in for this musicians and maybe sir. Then my fourth point, so connecting with the right people. That has also kept Chinchin going. Who say the right people? Who is the right people and who are the wrong people? So the right people are our fellow musicians. So we meet maybe doctor, and then we say, oh, doctor, we are a music band, or we came to play at Legon, we met doctor, so we are a music band, and then this is what we do. Okay, so now doctor knows us. Any event that comes a fire time, doctor would like to give it to us, and then or introduce us to the people that are having the event. And then your fellow bands, if you're a band, your fellow band as well. And then the people who organize the events, like events in Ghana or anywhere, So you go to this event, you meet these people who organize the event. You just walk to them. They are not musicians, we try to, I'm quite a guy, but if you want to sustain your business there, we do it together. And your events will help you get more gigs or more events to do, so that you get to where you are going. Like you're a music producer, I will say, wish a day. You will not even talk to any artist or anybody. Then wish a day, nobody knows you. So you connect to the musicians now here so that they can also introduce you to another people. And then businessmen, like big men, between that's what we do. So you a boy a gig we are, then when we see you just introduce ourselves, we talk about us small. It's not like by force you have to help us. This is what we do. So if you get any event and then you want us to play, then we come and play. Then the last one is making progress in whatever you've planned for. Yeah. If this year you plan to maybe do 5 songs in this year, at least you should make a progress by doing that. So when at least 3, you make progress in whatever you are doing. And then you try to give back to the society, like as a musician. For example, you can try to organize your own concerts that the society will enjoy you more, and the more they enjoy you, the more they patronize you. And then if you are not able to organize your own show, you can try to train some people around you. So the more you train the more people recognize your job, what you do. Because if you are not there, your office should function. Like in Chinchin, let's say if I'm not there, the work should be done as in Chinchin, but not personal, like Johnson is not there, so Chinchin is not going. No. So you train people around so that when we are not there, the office of Chinchin or the office of Robo or the office of Buka will work. So the studio producers, we train people as well so that say in Nimokra, the studio too will function. So I think
thank you very much, Mr. Johnson.
Very interesting. I'm just thinking when I was at your age what I was doing, and I can't remember. But maybe today I'll remember more of that. My name is Mr. Simons, and all over the world, people who have worked with me, everybody calls me Bessa. I've been away for a long time, 29 to 30 years. Coming back, my name has changed. I've got a new title, Uncle Bessa or Uncle B. So you can call me any of that named, and I'm okay with it. Or you can simply call me Bessa. I have so many faces as a musician. I am a band leader, a bandsman, part of the band. I'm a keyboard player for a band. I'm an artist. That means I can stand on my own, get anybody to back me or do it myself, write my songs. I'm also an audio engineer. I've engineered so many songs, which is record, mix, and master, that you hear all the time, but you don't know who did that. I'm also a teacher. I think the last school I taught before I left the shores of Ghana was O'Reilly Secondary School. And now most of the students are old like me. And so when we meet, we have a lot of fun. Today I'm going to talk about a bit of my life and how I have sustained my life up to now as a musician. It's been fun, it's been difficult, it's been very hard work in going forward. I would say that I thank my parents for giving me education, any education at all apart from music. I grew up in a house where when my eyes opened and I realized my surroundings, it was music. There was keyboard everywhere, people coming in to learn how to play music, how to read music, how to understand, because my dad was a musician. And so that is how it started. So after they finished their lessons, I would also go and tinkle small on the piano and and that is where it all started. So I would say education is very important. After my secondary school, I went and played with so many bands in Ghana until, I went back home one day and my dad said, at least go and study music at Winneba, and then when you finish, you can do whatever you like. And you cannot say no to your dad. So I did that. So after Winneba, that was called the National Academy of Music then. I did my national service, taught for about 2 years, and then I left the shores of Ghana. Part of my experience is that, first of all, you have to know your craft. You also have to know where you are coming from. Where you are coming from plays a very important role in your life. That is where your culture comes in. If you don't know anything about your culture, and your culture is based on somebody, because of your upbringing, you lose some authentic things in you. Because you go everywhere and you see that you are playing like somebody, but because this person comes from this place, is playing differently from you, and you find yourself trying to copy him, so you don't have that unique personality that people want to see and do business with you. So it's very important. So let me simplify this a bit. Let's say everybody knows A minor, and they can run the scale as fast as they can. Somebody will come and play a certain rhythm, which is the A minor scale, and pick his notes from somewhere. And his is so unique. And what he is playing, you've never heard it before. This is what I'm talking about. So you have to master your craft from where you are coming from. And I will say this because when I travel out of Ghana, and I was playing with other bands, we'll be playing the songs in 6/8, and I'll be playing maybe Agbaja. And these great musicians are baffled, and they will call you every day for a session or for a gig or anything. So that is very, very important. Important you master your craft. Mastering your craft also means you have to be a perfectionist. If you are playing, anything you play, you have to master. In my world, they said if it's not ripe, you don't take it out there. So you play over and over and over until it's so ripe. And when you play, you don't think about it. Anywhere you put it, you can play, and then that becomes one unique thing of you, and then you take it out there. So practice is another thing that you have to do to perfection. 2, as a musician, you have to know so many songs, more than 1,000 songs in your data. In your data is the things you play along as you, from childhood to when you are old. As I'm sitting there, I can still play most of the small little pieces I played when I started playing the keyboard. And one day, a musician called Smart and Cancer, he said to me, he said, when you die, the only thing I want is your head and the songs in there. So it's very important you have a lot of things in your memory or folder, and that is the songs you learn. It shouldn't be only one genre, from classical, folk, funk, jazz, high life. I would say more high life, more Ghanaian rhythms in your head, because wherever you go, it will help you. I will give you one story. When I went to the UK, I was just doing music, and it's difficult. And so one day, I went to a club and I saw them playing covers. And all the songs they were playing, I knew them. So I knew the drummer, and I said, oh, you play all the songs? I know them. I used to play in Ghana. I got a call, and every Sunday, I have to do a show. Those days, it was, any show you do was about 250, 300 pounds. And this is out of nowhere. You just get it every Sunday. So it's good you have so much songs in you. And what it does also is, if you decide to become a producer, what it does is, once you start, or a composer, all these elements starts coming in. You know, all the melodies, all the rhythms, they all come in, and you'll be well equipped. Now let me move on to another thing, that is branding and marketing. You have to brand yourself in a way that when people see you, they know you fit the brand. And then, you know, if you want to dress very simple, you make it a brand. And that simplicity will have to make a statement. And it's all up to every individual to have a brand. Now, you also have to know about the music business. The music business is not only writing a song or anything. You have to know about royalties. You have to know about copyright. And you have to know about how to get your money channeled to you. Because there are so many people out there taking other people's monies. So you have to understand. So once you write a song, you have to copyright it. And we have a copyright office here. Every country have theirs. So you copyright the song and the song becomes yours. In case someone takes it, you can go and prove that this is my song. I have the copyright to it. And then when it comes to royalties, that means anybody who uses your song or your product, having a recording or a song or that belongs to you is like building a house. Anybody who lives in it must pay a rent, apart from your kids and relatives, or people you say they can live there free. So you have to make money out of things that you write, you compose, you record, and then put out there. You have to know how you can make sure that it comes to you, and that is called royalties. In Ghana, we have Gamro. And what Gamro does is you assign your rights to them. So wherever they play your music, they have to collect your monies for you. Although the structures here are not solid, but if you go outside Ghana, once you are a member of PRS, wherever they play your music, your money will be sent to you, which account you are assigned to. And that is how musicians make money. And it comes not in big money. Let's say you can get $1,000 from America, you can get 500 euros from Germany, you can get 2,000 pounds from, and every 3 months, these monies come to you. And when you put them together, you will see that within 3 months, you get about $20,000 or $25,000. And this is how it works. If you don't understand it, then the passion will take over. When your passion takes over, it's like when I started playing music. Because this is the first time a band in Cape Coast had an organ, and they wanted me to play. Charlie, when I go there, I don't care about money. I will play this organ now, even when they close, I'm still playing. And I don't get a penny out of it. But later on, when I got to know the business, I know that this is how you have to do it. And once you do it, you see that slowly the value of music is coming into play. Apart from that, these days there are also so many ways you can make money from streaming. And the trend has changed. We don't sell CDs, we don't sell records anymore. It's all digital. So on that side, I would like all of you to try and just Google when you are free, Ditto Music. And they will give you a whole lot of ideas, DITTO, Ditto Music. They will give you so many ideas how the modern trends work, how you can make money from music. Also, making money from music doesn't mean only recording. As students, some of you can write music, so you can transcribe other music. There's so many music going that they need, you know, the dot thing. They need quavers and crotchets to, you know, put it down there for people who can play also to just sight read. And most of the songs I've learned was from books that I bought, you know, books by John Paul James, so many musicians, you know, Herbie Hancock, you know, I buy all these books, but because I can sight read small, I learn from it. And so it gives you different dimension. But it doesn't mean you should write like that. As a bandsman and a band leader, when I left Cape Coast and came to Accra, I've played with so many bands. I've played with so many musicians. You name it, from Kake Kuru, CK Man, Pat Thomas, Bob Taylor. I've worked with all these people. And you will see that doing this comes to play when I start producing. So it shows so many angles. But as a band leader, when I moved to Accra, my auntie Gloria, may her soul rest in peace, she had an instrument. She had a band called 1-2-Azuri. And I joined that band. That band was with crack musicians that we students were very fan of. Also, let me just go back a little bit. Those days, I went to Agri Memorial. So I'm an Amosa somebody. And we had a school band. Every school had a school band. But we had school bands and we had school bands. You know, some of the musicians in my school band are Michael Park, Kwesi Kwesin, Thomas Datson, Kojo Datson. And it was a solid band because everybody knew their music. And that is where you start getting to know how teamwork is very important, because if your bass player is no good, you help him to become good so that your band will be good. And so, fast forward, I came to Tema, joined a band, my auntie's band called 1-2-Azuri. It was one of the biggest bands that ever came to Ghana. It was launched at Metropole, and that day, my experience was that the people outside were more than the people inside, and the room is full. Later on, they have to bring the gates down. And after that, when that band collapsed, we formed Wutawazutu, then Dutch Bendros. And that is when I became the band leader. It's not an easy thing becoming a band leader because everybody's problem is on you. They have something they call alaba. That is advance. So after shows, people want advance, and you have to go and ask the cashier or the band owner, and you tell, hey, today I don't have money, nobody should ask me of money. And so you are in between, the band is here, the owner is here, you don't know where to go. You can't go and tell them that you didn't get money. When musicians need money, they need money. So it was changed to now the band play 60-40. You know, when I was playing band in Ghana, we never went broke. When we do a show, the musicians get 60%, band owner gets 40%. And we rehearse Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. We play every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all year round. So when we put our hands together, we have something in our pocket. And what I realized is that I could teach people to play their instrument. I could teach people to know music a little bit so that when they listen and they play, it's quicker. If they can't get it, they can use just a simple tonic solfa. You know, to the extent that most of the people like Gropa, Papa, they could even transpose with tonic solfas as they play their solo, you know, where it's very simple. I just want to do a small demonstration, and you can try it, it works perfectly well. So you are playing a song in B flat, and you go to the second chord, which will be C minor, C minor 7, C minor, whatever. Once you go to the C minor, take it as your third chord or your sixth chord and play in there. Just do your improvisation or write your melody in there and come back to B flat, and it works perfectly. And these guys can do that from B flat. They will do it chromatically to everywhere. So if you are good, you help the band to become good. And when your band is good, everybody will call you. So this is me being a band leader and a bandsman. And everywhere I've been, either I be in a band, I'll become the band leader, I'll become the music director, and then, you know, we take it from there. I've always had a band. My band is called the Bessa Band. Since coming to Ghana, I had Bessa Band in the UK. Since I came back, I formed Bessa Band in Ghana. We have recordings that I did with the UK Bessa Band. And it's good to do recordings. As a musician in the background, I'll tell you how you can also make money. Apart from playing in a band, there are so many things you can do. You can play in a band, you can play in a church, you can play in a recordings, but playing in a recordings, you have to make sure you secure yourself because you are going there with your intellect, what is in your mind. You go and you play, nobody tells you what to play, so you take a point in the royalties. Taking a point in the royalties means either you get 1%, 2%, half percent. So anytime they play the music anywhere, that money comes to you. So if you can do that on so many songs, you can get that. Your mechanical rights and just performing rights and everything you can get. It's not all the time that you should let people pay you off. You sustain yourself by keeping some of the money. Also, you have to be very unique that people cannot stop engaging you. Since forming Bessa Band in Ghana, a lot of people have copied our styles, and it's working for them because we do copyright, we do my songs, we do all kinds of things. And the next thing is, how do you make money? You know, so we make money when we play out there. We make money when our songs are played, royalties comes to us, and we get big engagements. We get just a party for over 20,000 Ghana cedis. People book us for that. And once we play that gig, it brings in more gig. And that is because the band is good. You rehearse for 6 months. And I tell you, I'm sure my brother here will tell you, rehearsing a band is so expensive. Because musicians come and you have to pay their transportation. But when you start working, it's very, very good. So you have to make sure your band rehearses. Then when it comes to productions, when I started doing production work when I went to the UK, I realized I was very good at orchestration. I was very good at putting chords to songs. I was very good at creating beats. So I did my own recording first, and the rest is history. In doing that, I also got to realize that I can add. I read about Fela, and Fela is an audio engineer, so he does his productions and knows what should be up, what should be down. So you have to add that to your trade. As a musician, I'm sure everybody from here is a great producer, great arranger. And so, I mean, there are songs from after my first recordings, because I knew Tego Sisters for a long time, they were my friends. And so they came looking for me in the UK. So I did their first album. I think Nyame Kasi, that one. And when we finished, it was a big hit. So they came back. We did so many songs like Menya Yesu, Yedin Kunim, and then other people started coming, like Felix Owusu, all went to, Samuel Owusu, Mediamin Panuasamo, Papa Yanson, Jealousy, Mama, and Samin Chen, Mami Bomobi. So what I'm saying is, if you learn a little engineering to your music, that's another income stream that will help you. And also, you don't have to know one genre, you have to know a lot of genres in your life so that wherever you turn, you'll be more creative there. I think I would like to end it here. Yeah, so let me share one experience with you. So I was in the UK, and a lot of people, when you go to UK, you're a musician, 2 things that can happen. You get into working outside music, you get up morning, you go to work and come back, and You know, I tried once, I just couldn't do it. So I went back home, and then I called my friend Papa. He was in the mainstream, you know, band thing, and he said, "Oh, read this magazine, read that magazine. What they don't want is a time waster. When you go in there, you know, quick, you get the song and you go. And the music director comes direct to you, and then you go." So I tried that. First of all, I got a band that is touring the whole of UK. So for 3 months, I have a job, you know, playing with them, playing keyboards and conga. And every Ghanaian can play conga. And so are you. And so when we go and we play, you know, sometimes they will leave it for me. This one guy said, "I will do my thing." And we say, and everybody goes, "Yeah, yes, I have a job." Then, no time waster comes in. You should be ready. They give you a song, 1 day, 2 days, you have to finish it because the next day you have a show. And so I did that. For some time in my life, I was playing 7 bands in the UK. And then I got an agent. So you go through my agent if I'm not busy. So there was business all the time, touring all over the world. You know, if I come home maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, I grab my bag, we are going again. So no time wasters means knowing your music. If you give me 2 hours, you listen straight away, you can put your chord structures down if your brains are not, you know, then you are ready to go. So it's very important to do that. Then I played with one group that has changed my life forever. And that experience, I use it in everything I do. That was a group called Osibisa. And this group, the main members were from Ghana, Tediose, Solamafia, Tonto, Kofi Ivo, Lofty, and these guys were brilliant. They have taken Ghanaian music to another level. The fusion was strong, the Ghana thing was strong, and even if you're a foreigner and you join, you will appreciate the Ghana magic in there. You know, where they use fonton from cowbells, kete, everything, you know. And when they do, and they add rock, R&B, jazz, more high life, more traditional music in there. And it worked. And we have toured all over the world more than 6 times, you know. And wherever they go, people adore them. They have some of the greatest recordings that we hear. When you hear, "We are going," is them. "Welcome home," you know, "Fire will burn you." And these songs are well known all over the world. And because they came in at a time when black people were, you know, coming out of their shells, they belong to all the black people. When you go to America, you see all the blacks will come. Because this is our power. That, you know, they were competing, these black guys from Africa were competing with the top musicians. You know, we go to places, you see Earth, Wind and Fire coming to visit them at the hotel and all kind of things. So it goes also to show you that we have something unique here. And the power of Osibisa, apart from their percussion breaks, is their horn power. Because there are only 3 horn players, but they were powerful, and all their horn lines were based on high life, which no Brunei can do better than them. So that factor is very important to me. Okay, I think I will leave it. Or I should say something about music.
Yes, something.
Okay, something briefly. Okay. Music is a union, and every musician must join, because the opportunities there are, you know, vast. They're plenty, a lot. And you also get to know more musicians from all walks of life. You can get business from there. You can also become an executive and help the union to grow. You know, somewhere in the UK, if you are not a member of the union, when you play at television stations, they will not pay you. Okay, so how can one become a member of the union? Once you are a musician, you are entitled to become a member. When you come, you see that Musica is your union. First of all, you have the largest family in the whole world. because they have branches in all the 16 regions in the country. And you have a musical card, which is very important to have. I'm just summarizing things. Musica is there to protect you. If you are being cheated by somebody, if you have a contract you don't understand, they have lawyers to help you. They have insurance. And now that most musicians don't even have pensions, they are getting pension schemes for all musicians in Ghana. They have a welfare system that whenever you are in need, they will come for you. And also, the musical card is very important to have. These days, when you go to get a visa, you say you are a musician. They say, show that you are a musician. If you show them the musical card, it means you are an authentic member. Someone just told me that he went to Benin, and this is the second time I'm hearing this story, with a musical card. And the moment he got to the border, there was a long line. So this policeman saw him holding a musical card. Then, he spoke French. Oh, you are a musician. Hey, my brother is a musician. Come on, let him go, let him go. Then, he was free to go. There was another guy also in Switzerland who got into trouble with the immigration. So they asked him, what do you do? He said, he's a musician. And he produced his Ghana musical card. And then he was also free to go. We have so many branches. We have the jazz branch, we have reggae, high life, choral, and reggae. And we have all of them that you can join all these societies. And if you have some expertise too, we do education things where we teach musicians how to play an instrument. So we will need your services there. So please come and join Musica. Now Musica will be going digital very soon. So you can fill your forms, do everything on your phone, Android phone. You become a member. Once you become a member, when we go digital, is that you will be communicating with about 175 countries, Musicians Union there. You see what they do, you can sell your music on it. We will have a bank that will support our programs and so forth and so on. Thank you.
So ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joshua.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming this afternoon. So before I start, I'm going to try and connect some of the things Uncle Bessa said and Johnson said and relate it to music career and sustainability. So the first thing Uncle Bessa said was about the parents. And to make it localized, bring it home, I'll use myself as an example. So when I started, I didn't get that kind of opportunity where your family is in support of you being in music. So I know some of you might have that kind of resistance from family where, oh, music, you're the creating. So I came from a family where there was serious resistance. Your senior brothers are doing something else. So that is what dragged my my tendency to understand what is creating that kind of problem, why parents don't want their children to do music. So my master's thesis was on music career sustainability, and you realize that it's part of societal gaze, how we see musicians. And some of these things are still there. I know some of you are dancers, some of you are not necessarily musicians, but artists. And this is based on how we approach our craft, how we approach our profession. And Johnson spoke about some of these things. How we see ourselves as musicians, our time, how we deal with time, how we pay attention to details, and all those things. So, directing that to my research on music career sustainability, most of the things that Uncle Bessa has mentioned and Johnson has mentioned are the findings I got, like diversification. When it comes to the university and doing research, it's using bureaucracy to just qualify the things that are being done on the ground. Diversification. Uncle Bessa mentioned so many things about transcribing music. Some of us are here doing orchestration, and we think that orchestration has to do with just orchestrating for an orchestra. But we play in bands, and bands, you have so many different musical instruments. You can apply the same transcription or orchestration, to these bands. How do you arrange for these different bands to play together? Songwriting. These are some of the things that some of us think, oh, maybe I don't have a good voice, so I can't sing. But you can write music for other people to sing for you. We have, until recently, this musician, Akabwa, he was writing music for people. So my point is the diversification part of my findings from my research has got to do with identifying other things that are embedded in the music. We have Sir Steve going into organology, instrumentation. This is something we have been not paying much attention to, but there are so many ways of making a living as a musician. And my case study of Jami Kwame revealed this to me. He doesn't just make the music, he's thinking about how he's going to establish another business, because he has already accomplished the social status, everybody knows him. How do I will connect this popularity to my music career? And an essential part of this workshop is to connect the industry with the university. We found Uncle Mesa here who has been to school. We have Dr. Sunu here. We have Johnson who is in the industry. So idea is to let both students and those in the industry to understand that we are not so much apart. Uncle Mesa is mentioning minor chords, all those technical things. And you can see that, yes, he's been to school. And education doesn't necessarily mean formal education, going to sit in the class to be taught that, okay, this is the stave, no. It is beyond that. He mentioned reading magazines, reading, learning about mechanical royalty. How do I learn? Most of the time when we hear about learning, it's like, oh, we Wako University. No, it's beyond that. And also, as Madam Grace will talk, the things we learn in the school are the same thing that are happening in the industry. It is not different. It's just being polished and formalized. So as part of my findings, one thing I realized was Ochame Kwame's ability to connect both formal education and informal education. So it doesn't necessarily mean you being in the classroom. When you have the chance to go to school, yes, you have to go for it. My case study, Ochame Kwame went to Tech to study Akan. And we all know he's a good writer, he writes in tree. So when there is an opportunity to get education, learn, there is the need for us to also push for it. And the other thing has got to do with interconnectedness, and that has got to do with the connections you make. Johnson mentioned after gigs, trying to talk with other people. That is how you get out there. This platform, this workshop is a fantastic opportunity to connect it, whoever is here. And some of the things that have been mentioned, some of us are thinking, oh, we're meaning that. But the challenge of being a musician in Ghana is no news. Every day people are complaining. So it's we paying attention to some of these things that are being mentioned repeatedly and seeing that, okay, if I want to be a musician, it's me paying that specific detail to everything I'm doing. And that has also got to do with music. Yes, you will hear people complain about music, but it has got to do with the interconnectedness. When you are in music, you get connected to people, you get to know people, you get to learn. And also the idea that not everybody is doing it. So somebody will say, oh, we are Nyamboami, but what is the difference you are making? So if somebody is telling you music didn't work for me, do you think your situation is going to be similar to his? And the other thing about one finding from my research has got to do with brand. I mean, we hear brand. Should I ask anybody to talk about brand? Well, the other man will be definition. But again, going back to the education, what do I know about branding? Is it just about what I wear? Is it just about the colors I choose? This is about logo. The business aspect of the craft is very, very important. And again, to reading, it's not just about being the best musician, being the best singer, being the best actor. It goes way beyond it. Being able to combine the commerce with the creative aspect is very, very important. So the last thing I want to say has got to do with, again, coming back to the university and the industry. There are so many things we can do, we can partner and do. Johnson wasn't a University of Ghana music student. He came to the department, found people and connected with them. The same way we students can also look out for some of these avenues, these industry people, and connect with. I came to the University of Ghana music department knowing nothing. I didn't know Do, Eric will tell you, I didn't know C code. But right after school, I realized that these things that I'm learning are the same things that these people are doing. And again, it's a connectedness, trying to connect. You have to connect to people. I was chasing Robo every now and then. I want to learn. So we are paying school fees, so we have to make do with our school fees. And Madam Grace is going to talk much about it, how whatever we are learning in school is very, very important in the industry as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lisa.
Good afternoon. My name is Grace. I'm an assistant lecturer here for those of you that don't know me at the Department of Music, and also a PhD student. PhD candidate, sorry, my third year. Right, so the experience I want to share is basically in relation to the courses that I have been teaching in the department for the last maybe 5 years or so, specifically contemporary music in Ghana and traditional music in Ghana. But also, given that coming from academia, I would want to take us a little bit far back into a bit of history in relation to the topic for why we are here this afternoon on music career sustainability, socioeconomic aspects of being a musician in Ghana. There's definitely a certain history to it, a certain perception of society in relation to music, how they have perceived music. And these have been captured obviously by a lot of authors, a lot of writers. Rosa Collins on the popular music side has talked a lot about the perception of a society of musicians and how it affects their trade. And here I would play the gender game a little bit and tilt it towards women. Because obviously there are a lot more women here as part of the panel that perhaps would be expected. And this will really affect women because you, as a woman, you couldn't really, access these spaces freely. You couldn't be part of it without being questioned. Why are you here? You should be somewhere else. You should be in the home. You should be, cooking or whatever. So all of these things would affect musicians, but most importantly, women's ability to access these spaces. Just a little bit of background. And I guess that even though there were these challenges, obviously people found ways of learning. The church was an avenue to learn. Those who learned the informal way, all of that have brought us to where we are now. And so I will situate it within the context of the class, and some of the students here can relate to that. And so over the years, perhaps it has not been intentional towards making these courses into something that students can necessarily benefit from in terms of doing something out of it, but it's sort of implied. And so I will use Irama here as an example. I've taught traditional music in Ghana where I try to incorporate the practicalities of playing an instrument, because I also feel like as far as the examples that have been given here, they are mostly focused on the so-called popular, maybe the Western instruments. So what about the traditional one, the seprewa, the drum, the adenkum, and all of that? And Irama, from her presentations, I got to know that she picked up the adenkum from class. I had introduced it to them in class from playing. She picked it up. She incorporated it into a performance. She's already a singer, she performs, but she saw an opportunity because this is something that is not common. It is not even there. As far as the popular vein music making and performance is concerned, and she being a popular performer, she tried to incorporate it into her performance, bringing sort of diversity to it. And I was very happy when I got to know about that. And then I would come back to the contemporary music class I am teaching this semester. There are a lot of students in there. Some of them come, they're already performing or they play an instrument or whatever. And so sometimes their attitude, their approach to what you are teaching them, to what they could possibly learn is sometimes very disheartening. And you have to take time to talk to them, to make them see that they can potentially learn more from these experiences, much as what they are bringing from elsewhere. Because being in the university, being within this academic discourse community, as my LSS lecturer would say, offers a lot of opportunities. The opportunity to meet a lot more people than you would wherever you might be coming from. And so I would urge them to, to unlearn and then relearn, as they would tell us in our PhD classes, Professor Miedu, you say, you have to unlearn whatever you know and be ready to learn. Because they were doing some presentations and on organizing, music festivals, music events, and all of that. And a few weeks afterwards, I saw a performance here at the Music Quadrangle, and I'm wondering, so some of these students were those that are going to present, this performance. Couldn't they have maximized the opportunity to engage with the people that were organizing it? Because they were performers, to get to know more about it and incorporate it into, what they were supposed to present in class. Then the realization dawned on me that mostly we are so much looking at the bigger picture that we forget that the smaller things that we are doing are what will get us there. And it is a gradual process. Lord, make I blow, that I feel the very show. We want to blow one time, hit it, but it doesn't happen that way, as Uncle Bessa has let us know. It's a gradual process, and being able to combine academia with, practice and performance, puts you out there, makes you exceptional, makes you different from the one that is just, doing it from one side. So that is one thing I would say about that, being consciously aware of what you are doing and being able to link it to what you are practicing as performers. We may not even be performers, and here I will use another example. There's a student now, she completed a national service, she conceptualized the idea of women in instrumental music, and then she brought a lot of the ladies in the department who played the trombone, who played the trumpet, who played the clarinet, who played the piano, and then they gave a performance where people went to watch, and I had never seen something like that. So when she told me about the idea, I was like, wow, this is really interesting, this is really nice. And again, it is coming from her inability to join a supposedly men band because they thought she was a woman. So why can't I do it? But previously, she had been initiated into organizing an event. In 2019, my contemporary music class, together with the Legon Palm Wine Band, we organized, I think, the third or fourth Palm Wine Music Festival. And the students were responsible for every aspect of it. There was the seminar aspect, as we are doing now, where we had Professor Collins, Professor Emielu, Martin Cancer, amongst other musicians, to share their experiences with the students. And then there was the festival in the evening. And so afterwards, a lot of students will come to, oh, madam, so this is something that I could possibly do. So it is not just about me maybe being a singer, being an instrument player, but possibly a music organizer. How about that? Conceptualizing an idea, putting a proposal together, getting somebody to sponsor you, starting small. Starting small. You are learning the atenteben, you are in the choral ensemble, as Joshua would say. There are a lot of students who come here knowing zero about music. And I will use Matthew, who is a friend amongst us, as an example, now in South Africa pursuing his master's. He came here, he took up the violin, and now he plays so exceptional. He didn't know nothing about it. So let's take what we get here, what we are taught here, let's take them very seriously. Stephen is here. A lot of students picked up different saxophones and trumpets and others from his class, and Dr. Waku, and now there's the Ataha band. They are performing, they are making money. Sometimes I wonder what else they do, because we are also talking about issues of sustainability. So much as they have to rehearse, much as they need to perform. As younger people trying to ground ourselves as we grow. What else can we incorporate into what we do, such that we sustain ourselves? So the sustenance is not necessarily only coming from the music, because sometimes we tend to think that if the sustenance is not coming only from the music or from the art, then it might as well be a side job. But it could be the main one, but also ways of incorporating other things into it, because the reality is that times are quite hard. But you can still do it, conceptualize about it like Prince is doing, and then getting things going. All of the members, about 90% of them are all from the department here, and it's a sight to behold when they perform, much like the Inchinchim band, whom I can listen to, all day. Right. So all I would like to say is that we should take whatever we are taught here, whatever ensemble we are in. We should think about the ideas we can make out of them outside of school. You are learning the when after school you don't have work. One of my students has a similar situation. But she gets gigs every weekend to play at funerals. She's making something out of it. When I get a gig I'm not able to go, I call her. She goes to do it. Small beginnings. So let's not despise them. It may come off as a cliche, but they make I blow things sometimes. It doesn't make us take our craft serious, I would say. It doesn't make us take it serious. So let's pay attention to it, let's develop it, let's give time to it, let's learn more about it, because there's more beauty in combining the academia with practice, as Uncle Besa is doing here. It's exceptional. It makes you different, and I guess that is what we are all aiming for, and so, that's what I think we should be doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Grace, and that was brief and straight to the point. I'll just add one thing to what everybody has said, and then I open the floor for you guys. I think over my years of working with students and starting ensembles, I have observed that, like Madam Grace was saying, we want to blow fast. We hardly want to gain the experience. We don't want to pay our dues. I was happy when Johnson was talking about the experiences with Inchin and how over the last 8 years they have been working together. They are not there yet, but they are still paying their dues. I bring my own friends, Legon Pamwangwa, how we started and how we are still together. It's not easy, but we are still paying our dues. I'm sure there are a couple of other guys here who are still paying their dues. The key thing, as Uncle Besa and Johnson said, was to remain focused. As Samini said in one of his songs, a man with a focus never flops. Until he hits the Grammys, he's never going to stop. So I think that is what we should hammer on to a lot of our students. That remain focused, stay grounded, and garner all the experiences there is to have. Okay, so this is what is exciting for me. This is where I give you the opportunity to raise topics. If the resource persons here have contributions to make, you could also ask questions of the resource person, or to understand how we could sustain our careers, mostly economic-wise. So I'll take first 5 questions, then we deliberate on it, and then we take the next 5 questions. We have.
I am Jimmy. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I wish you could have gotten copies of the work, at least. But my main question goes straight to Uncle Besa. I understand you are also the GAMRO, you are also an executive member of GAMRO, right? Are you an office holder, portfolio holder in GAMRO? Not now. The challenge I'm having is when we, the young people, see the old musicians dying poor, it's a challenge, because what are the systems? You are talking about sustaining our craft, our career. What is the system? What are the systems that are available so that when after our shows, after our concerts, when we get our monies, and then we retire from, we cannot be performing every day, retire. The system, that is the royalty system that we have in our country, is, to me, sometimes so demeaning. I don't know whether the leadership don't know or is deliberate So if you can help us, what is the system that is available to us, especially when it comes to royalties, so that we can actually know how, if I go to a studio, mechanical royalties, those systems, because someone like me, I've been playing. Until I traveled, I never knew of mechanical royalties. That when you play at the studio, there's something that you can get points from there and get something from it. Most musicians say we've been playing at the studios. We've never heard of any spreadsheet. Yeah, so it's a big challenge. So I don't know. What are the systems and the processes to help some of us who are in academia or whatever, so that when we finish doing our shows, and we can still sustain ourselves?
My question is, what are some of the challenges and how do we overcome them to the experienced players?
Please, my name is Cyrus Samako. My question is, Uncle Bessa spoke about musica, but his explanation, I didn't really get it into details, because I want to understand what musica is, and you made mention of we getting musica, I think, cards or accreditations and everything. So I want to know what it's actually about and how we can also play our parts in joining these. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve. First of all, one thing, I've been away for a long time, like 30 years. So I know a little bit more about how the music business goes. I lived in Britain for a long time, but I managed to get my royalties with PRS Music, a bit better. So coming to Ghana, I realized the structures are not in place. There's a difference between, I'll answer these two questions in one, between Gamro and musica. And we have to understand that this is where everywhere I've been around Ghana, people don't understand the difference. The difference is that Gamro is the only licensed union that is permitted to collect your royalties for you. If anybody uses your music anywhere, Gamro has the license to collect it for you, but not you have assigned the rights to them to collect for you. You have to be a member of Gamro. You have to be a member of ASCAP. You have to be a member of PRS for music. And if you're a member, they will collect wherever they use your music for you. Musica, in a nutshell, will protect musicians, will look after musicians. Let's say, for example, if something is happening at Gamro, they don't give you your royalties, we have the power to go to Gamro and make sure you get your royalties. So these two different things. I just spoke briefly because of time. But if you want to know more about musica, I will show you the websites where you can go to understand more about musica. Now, talking about the structures in Ghana, what we haven't done for the past, I would say, 200 years, is that we don't have the simple mechanism that collects royalties for musicians. I remember before I left the shores of Ghana, we had only GBC as the only radio stations, and they were collecting royalties. Every music they play. Royalties means they will set a tariff, and they grade the radio stations, the users. And so every music they play, they log. And let's say, and this is how we make money. So let's say Ghana says, when they play your music for 2 minutes, you get 20 CDs, right? And then they play your music at, now we have sold in about 200, more than 200 FM stations. They play your music within 6 months across Ghana, more 20 cities, more than 80 times. So you times it by 80, that's the royalties you get. And this royalties goes to different people. The composer, the arranger, and the technical producer, the management, the people who finance the music, the record company. They split it in between them. And this is what's done all over the developed countries. So the moment you join their collecting management society, it's like that. Once they play it, it goes. It's an automatic thing. It goes straight, they fill it, and the money comes to you. I mean, I use myself as example all the time. My last baby is doing her PhD like you. But I look like a fine man, but I'm a grown-up man. So I know what it is to find money to make sure that you educate your children and also have a comfortable life with music. So what we haven't done in Ghana is we haven't set these things up. I mean, people go around collecting royalties. No. Now everywhere is gone digital long time. So everything is digitally done. And so that is where, that's why I'm not sitting in the house like most of my friends who came to Ghana. I can sit in my house, do my own thing, collect my small royalties. I think we should change to the modern trends and get digital. And now, with a little help and a little fight and a little talk here and there, copyright has started, government has started, music is almost there. And so until we get these things in place, it won't work. Also, I work with CK Man and some of the older musicians. And like you rightly said, the ending was not very exciting. And I don't want to see this history repeat itself, again. So we have to fight for it. But now it's better because now Ghana has been able to even go and collect monies that way they were supposed to go outside Ghana. And that is why you see Shatawale getting 30,000. I won't be surprised their next distribution. So people get 100,000 Ghana citizens, above that, So, like you said, we don't have the structures. We have now started something which we have done about 200 years ago. But with all of us understanding, I think we can move forward. Now the challenges in music, they are enormous. They come in different shapes, but you have to be grounded. There's so many temptations, there's so many puts off. You'll be doing something and someone will say, oh, this is not good. I didn't music ground on me. I use Ampule as an example. When Ampule started, people were saying, oh, dear music, but he was dedicated and he stayed on it and see where Ampule is now. He's all over the world. And also his music is unique. And like, my lady said, it is very important to dream and have a vision and find your space in the circle. Don't go and stand on people's stuff. Your own thing that you want to do. That brass band you just mentioned, can you imagine they can go to places? And that is what I do. I mean, just coming back, if you see a band like Lipstick, if you've seen them, they are the people I started them, grooming them, showing them how to play, how to write, and how to play as a group. And any group that I have touched, there's one thing you see, discipline on stage. So they have that wow factor. And the challenge is, don't let anybody get you down. Any down putting, use it as an inspiration to do what you, and anything you think of doing is the right thing, especially if you are not hurting anybody. And also, as women, I would like to say, me, all my kids are girls. I have only one boy, so I make sure the girls can do what the boys can do. So anything the boys are doing, don't think this is for boys alone. No, my daughters, do it your own way and you will succeed. Yeah. And also, you meet people bringing all kinds of things, but see every man in music as your brother, unless you want to marry him. And also, nothing, no substance enhances your music. You can have your natural, high and do your music, because you might not be lucky if you go into that. Coming back will be very, very difficult. I'm saying this because I've seen all kinds of things, but because of my upbringing, I just look at it and walk away. So you should do that. What am I saying?
So about the systems in place for us musicians. Doctors sometimes do die poor. Everybody, every profession. So as you can try to do or save as we are young before the structure comes in place. Because if you don't save now, I don't think when you win, you can save, because when you win, the money is coming for only you. But if you have a family, the money comes and soon. So I think as we are playing gigs right now, we are doing the music, we are getting the small one we think we are getting. We should be able to save and reinvest into the business to get more money out of it. I'm so concerned about the reinvestment, because when you get the money right now and you don't reinvest, you still stand at point one. Let's say I come to your gig and I use just one speaker and you pay me 20,000, and I come to the next gig, feel like you, and I still use the same speakers for your show. Give me the same 20,000, but if I charge you maybe 40,000 the next time and I come, you see my speakers, like 4 speakers, then you can pay me more. So as we are going, we need to save and reinvest into whatever we do so that we can sustain the business. And the structures, as Uncle Besa said, they are working on it, I don't know, but we are hoping. Yeah, we are hoping that they will do one thing. Now we enjoy those things. And then the challenges in like on the floor, it's very difficult here, because especially if you want to do, how do I say it? Like the who American music, like Shana Mawati said, and you want young fancy music that you don't use to dance, especially at time. Nobody will, like people won't buy it. Let's say you want to do conscious music, songs that talks to people, and then nobody is enjoying the music. It's a challenge. You have to join the trend, like send a year corner, then 3 months, and you know, I will. But many songs here, up till now, it's still raining. Until the challenges are there, just that you have to make your stand, know where you are going to, and then you choose your audience. That is what. And they have some people that will buy you for what like you are giving them. Until do what, create your audience and give them what they want. And I think you get it.
Uncle Besa was, I think, responding to the issue of the systems and these things are being set up. And it's quickly occurred to me to ask, who is setting these things up? Or who should set these things? Maybe we should think about, these things.
Thank you so much, sir. My name is Kofi Ajman, the National President for Musicians in North Ghana. I would like to touch on 2 things concerning Musica. So somebody asked a very important question, what Musica can do. So just to add to what my president just said, there's one important thing. Musica is there to create an enabling environment in our capacity to help musicians. I've been Musica chairman for BA for 12 years, and I've helped so many people getting job as musicians, playing at army band, police band, and stuff. So when it comes to those people who could not go through the non-formal education, like we here, if you want to join the police band, what would you use? You don't have any certificate. You have nothing, but you are very good. But then the police band will request something from you to show that you are a musician. The only place to go is to go to Musica. They will give you a letter, plus your ID card, plus the introductory letter. Then the army will recognize that they will see you as a professional musician before they will employ you. It's one thing that Musica, it's only Musica that does that in Ghana. Then the second thing is that you are a professional musician. You want to embark on a project. You need music to help you. Maybe you are connected to a certain organization. If you don't have your background, you don't have any background, music can come behind you. They will support you the necessary, like we have accountants, we have project coordinator at musical office. So they will help you to have the very good background so that that company or that organization that want to help you. For instance, my brother here is a researcher. Maybe he wants to do a project. So you can present everything that you have at Musica. And Musica have this project coordinator that can help you to develop this project, and you can do a very good a successful project. So what I want to say is that Musica is there to help you in these areas. So come and join. There are other things that we cannot talk about them here, but these are the two things that I want to add. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. My name is Daniel Gacha, a student from the music department here in University of Ghana. This question I want to ask Mr. George. He spoke about his experience of his parents resisting from taking up a music course and trying motivating us to keep on doing what we feel we have to do. In such a situation where your parent doesn't want you to do music and you want to do it, and it's like you're in conflict with them. They're like, if you can't change that course, you have to pay on your own, pay the school fees. What do you do in that situation? You didn't say much about it. I'll let you.
My name is Samuel Ajimai. I want to ask this, as you said, the structure and all those things, so there's limitation here. I know people who have rehearsed as a group for a long time, they don't even get events to play. Though they are looking at people who are already in the industry in terms of performance practices, how they dress, they come out as professionals. But yes, they don't have that space. So it's sustaining a career where there's limitation that a Kabli will not allow me to come and play the guitar because that's how he survives. How do you fix that?
My name is Gulu. I would like to answer Gacha's question. I came from a family of musicians, but none of them succeeded. So I told my uncle I wanted to become a musician, so I wanted to come to University of Ghana to read music. And he was like, you won't pay my school fees. His music is all I want to do. Well, for me, I was lucky, I got a job and I could pay my fees. If you know you can't pay your fees, then you have to fulfill your parents' wishes. Let's say your parents want you to become a doctor or want you to read sociology. You read your sociology. After 4 years degree, let's say you are an adult now, you have a job, you can go on to read your music course, you can go to school, read your music course and do what you want to do. Sometimes you have to do what your parents want for them. After that, you can do what you want to do. But if you know you can take care of yourself, if you know you know what your vision is, you know what you want, just forget about what your parents are saying.
I think one other way to get your parents to warm up to you being a musician is to show them results. Sorry, yes, to show working. So if you want to be a doctor, obviously you have to go to school and pass your exams and become a doctor. The same thing if you want to be a lawyer. If you want to be a musician and you want somebody to trust that you are going to be a musician who will be able to make it in life, you have to show that at least you have talent, or you have the drive or the passion to try and work and become a good musician. I think when I was growing up, I started learning instruments very young, I think around 8 or 9 years. And then I left my church, the church that I was going with my parents, to go to another church to go and learn how to play the trumpet. And at 9, 8 years, I was going to the church alone to learn the trumpet. At that time, no parents would be allowing you to do those things. And they kept complaining, but I kept resisting until somewhere around SHS, my parents started seeing me on TV, playing with harmonious choral, playing with this group, playing with this, playing with this. Then I was there in level 200. My dad was outside the country. He called me that, oh, he's talking with his friend, and he says I'm his son. But his friend doesn't believe, so you should talk to him. I should talk to him and say, oh yes, it's me. Up to now, then my dad comes down. Every year my dad comes. He wants to come and see a band perform. And then now when we talk, he's like, well, how can I support a band? You have instruments. How do you go to programs? And you have to show them results so they can trust that if they leave you, you'll be able to make it.
Right. So, I mean, as Eric said, I'm the researcher, so I'm going to, as much as possible, bring my research to what you're saying. So from my research, one of the major findings was resilience, and talking about sustainability in terms of academic, that is one of the things, resilience. How are you being resilient? And from what Podo and Bala just said, it's about resilience. And when we say being resilient, it's not just you coming into contact with challenges and just overcoming it. It's about how you are able to overcome the challenge and regroup. You understand? So Bala just told us how his parents were resisting him. Kodo told us how he had to work to pay his fees. And again, it brings me back to the topic of education. You don't necessarily need to go to the university to become educated, like informal. So many people learn music outside of school. So if your parents are saying no, okay, you can go to school, do whatever they want you to do, and be doing the music aside. When I was here, we had students from physics department coming here to practice, and our own music students, they'll be nowhere to be found. So yes, your parents can tell you don't do the music, but you can still find a way of doing it. My story, when I finished national service, my parents took me to Ecobank to go and work. Oh, when we University Papa, your connection among school, Koye Bank. We share the codes, name it time, name joining our share Genius High. It was a music work, for sure. See, first week I went, second week we see you rage roundabout. Then I just walked to Genius High. It was just adjacent to GIG. Obi I said we training naturally, my bear banker. 2014, moved to Kamu. Now I'm missing music. My senior brother is a pharmacist. Now I'm a banker. I was also bear odontology. In the first week, second week, I was going to the music school. In the one evening, upon by my parents and my mom to one, they were like, Kofi now fini. I was like, first invention, for bank. Officer Bill, my mom said, cannot correct. I'm saying, if you bank, I was still insisting on Papa in the phone. He showed me his call log. He had just spoken with the manager. For the past week, they have not been coming. I didn't hear. Was to say from today onwards, the only thing I'm not provide them a roof. So you can just imagine. It was there that I have to come back to Yamana Messuini, Eric chair my guitar, Kofi, Etoa, so Robo. I have to realize that the things I have to learn, I have to. So I started teaching the guitar. Sometimes in Nante, I'm a coach. I started getting connection. I spoke about interconnectedness. Where you go, how do you make the connection? I started teaching diplomats on Momba. So it got to a time, all the diplomats in Accra, I can't go outside. I was playing in church too. So that's kind of bad. And like Bala said, I was showing working. I bought a car. I wasn't working in a bank. Now I'm in bought time. So now I talk car. My senior brothers had to rely on my parents to get these things. Car will fee fine. I said they also play music in tea. I bought a car. So they started saying that, hey, it's music now. It's a thing. Yeah, we'll feel letters from these diplomats, but they're inviting me to these occasions. My dad will be like, Office of the German ambassador to Ghana, the head of the man say, hey, Kofi Joshua, on music now. So I was dedicated. I realized actually, it's easy, but I have to do it because, and also I had to connect the things I was learning in school to the things I was exposed to in the world. Some of us about school now, if they say, oh, Madam Gracie, how am I doing good? Eric, they be a member of class. I was running away from him. And then times near a classical way, you know me reading. It got to a point in JB, there was a work in Winnipeg. They wanted somebody who could read music, and I had done classical music. Time now I'm in Cobank, now I'm called Genius Hype. I did my ABRSM. So when the opportunity presented itself, I was ready. JB connected me to Winnipeg. I started teaching. In the opportunity on the brain, if your parents are resisting, sometimes it's not even just your parents, even family members, even the society. Like I said, music on I'll just forget it. My papa was so you understand? So it's got to do with resilience, interconnectedness, and that's how you make it. And if you are fortunate to be in school, how you connect the things you've learned in school to what you are doing. It's not very far. When you use orchestration, you say trumpet, you say we orchestra or how will you orchestrate for these things? Or your harmony and counterpoint. So it's thinking beyond just what you have been taught and applying it to whatever you have. Okay, contemporary music, more event organization. That's the same thing they do. You go to Echo House, you go to whatever, it's the same thing. So resilience, diversity, and applying whatever you learned in school to whatever you are doing, and understanding that education is not just formal, it's informal and formal. Thank you.
I'll just say a short one on what parents can do. But I am going to advise you, when you become parents, what I think you should do. The trend has changed. I remember my time, my parents were great. My dad played music in the church, so he died. His life is about playing in the church, come home, go to work. Me, I played in the street. I played for people. I played everywhere. But they were so supportive. At a very tender age, I would score music for a big band to play. And even the rehearsal with Pelicans band in Cape Coast, people just come to watch the rehearsals. And we play, and my mom loves dancing. And I'm always embarrassed when she comes to me, because she does like whistle. Then she would come and scrub my face with his handkerchief or cloth, and I never liked it. But there was a meeting. You could feel about it. I went to chapel, no bus, no. And my dad said to them, listen, that's another kind of music. Allow the boy to do his thing. And it has worked for me. I mean, wherever I go, I get the respect that I need because of the way I've carried myself, and like he said. Now, going to my brother here, how to get gigs, how to get bands to play. I think one thing is that you have to fight for your sport. You have to fight to be recognized. You have to have something that when people see you, they say, no, I would like to play with you. I have a band. Everybody who plays in the band does something that I like. I've seen them play. I see other people play in other bands. I'll see someone performing, straight away tells me that I would love to play with this band. I would love to play with this guy. I would love to play with this bass player. And this is how it works. Or Dan Grau will come and hear somebody play a trumpet, they mark you down. And then when there is the space, they will come for you. So that's one way of getting into. And you also have to check yourself and say, hey, Charlie, am I that good? If they call me into, you have to be very confident. If they call me into this group, can I perform the way these people are playing? Hey, so you don't have to be afraid. Now my last one is, why and how are these people making sure that they are performing all the time? And that everybody will have to find out. You know, because there are shows there, sometimes you could be in the wrong place, but the right place is waiting for you, but you have to find it. So I would say Akable has worked very hard for his space. I know Akable, when he started playing guitar, he started under the hands of Jewel Aka. And Jewel, if you know Jewel, anybody who has worked with CK Man is very strict. You have to be good within 3 months, you have to be good. And so Akable joined Juelaka, and within 3 weeks, Akable ran away because it was too much rehearsal, too much perfection. Juelaka went, found him, and brought him back because he saw something in him. And now he's developed his own style, and he's doing very well. So there is a space for you somewhere. So don't give up. And Eric, just one last one. You asked who should set the structures up. In this case, it is GAM. GAM will have to set it up. But the wrong questions are not being asked. It's just like Ghana. When somebody does something wrong, we don't point it to the president, we go to the president. So they're all hiding behind the president. Charlie, find who is doing the wrong thing, make sure either, he does the right thing or he gets a sack. Don't blame the president all the time. You see, BA roads, no one here. President, even my small acting president, Grano, and some are bit a day, the 600, the president 1,000, and today, so let's direct the right thing. But it's gone, and they have started, but I think they are too slow. They have to get on the beat and finish.
Please, and this is a direct question to the chamber. Please, coming here, University of Ghana Music Department, I didn't really enjoy high life music because there was a lot of hip hop infused in me. So it didn't really make me consider some high life styles. But there was this time around during the strike period, you guys came to the ETS drama studio and you performed. And that day, I was really shocked how you guys could structure high life in a way that could suit the young ones as well. And since that time to school resumed, everything we learned in guitar class, pop class, it was making sense to me. And the question I want to ask you is that how do you get to structure the high life music in a way that suits the young ones who are here right now and get a lot of young ones to listen to old use of those days here?
How is the department also helping students to understand music business? Because most of the time, students graduate, they don't know anything about music business. They know crochet papers, but when you talk about manager, production, nothing, executive producer. So how is the department also helping students understand the music business? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Academia, will you answer? Academia.
I think it is better with the university. Let me give one example. Starting from level 100, you are allowed to take only 2 core courses. And when you look at these 2 core courses, what can you teach the students? And the university has already pre-programmed some courses for students. I don't know when they'll be using those courses. So it's a total challenge. So we are trying to see how best that thing can be solved.
So I'll also add, aside the academia, you are coming to school and you think you are going to learn everything from here. Sometimes you can also sit down and find out certain things. Because I always use myself as an example. You know what I'm doing? I do repair musical instruments. And now I'm constructing musical instruments. So you should ask yourself whether in our structure we have something like that. No. I learned everything online. So sometimes you should also sit down and you shouldn't follow what is there. What can you also add to knowledge? I hope you understand. What can you add? So now, because of what I have done, the university has introduced musical instrument maintenance and repair in their program. So that is my contribution to academia. So we also try to do something.
These are issues that we've been considering for some time, and then I teach level 100 class, that's introduction to music, and then with the help of this brother, we developed something about job opportunities in music that we used to share with the students. So when they come as part of the orientation, we try to give them an understanding of some of the opportunities that they can have access to if they do the music. And then beyond that, there are other trainings like they spoke about the event organization, they spoke about we did a music festival, and all the things that goes into the organization of the programs. We use that as a platform to show students some of the things that they can do. I think one of the main things is interest and then the issue with the parents. So if we can we can work out the interest rates and the issue with the parents, we will be able to fix that. Because sometimes you have a guitar student who has just come fresh in the 100, and you ask the person, you know you have to get an instrument for yourself. No, I don't need an instrument because I will drop. Now somebody is saying this at the very early stage. Level 100. Now, why is the person saying that? Probably because of stuff that the parents have told them, stuff that the parents have said. So these are some of the challenges that we have to deal with. Otherwise, I think we are doing some things to help them in some of the job opportunities they have. Thank you.
We have a certain structure where students don't come necessarily to come and study music. So music becomes an appendage. Oh, I'm doing other courses. Unlike me, I chose music. Whoever chose the other courses, I don't know, because I've been studying music. So that is one. And then the other thing is the structure of the program when the students come in. You have a 4-year time span. And the student is beginning what they should have studied way before in the first year. Time is not enough. What happens now is they end up cramping so much, and we end up not spending so much time. With free SHS, now the numbers are overwhelming. So it's a structural problem, one from the bigger university, maybe from the societal level, and then one from we in the academia. I say we in the academia because when you look at the music department in Ghana, you see there is the old block who were trained in a certain way. And then there is we the rascals who have our own way of doing things. So there is this big gap. The older generation are the ones who say, and it is done. We will say, we will agitate, we will talk, but at the end of the day, it is that older generation. To answer your question, it is time. Like you say, time heals all wounds. It is time. Give us acha 5 years. If you don't trust me, trust anybody who knows me. Give us 5 years. Things will change. Give us 5 years. And encourage your colleagues to come and take music. You'll make money.
My question or suggestion goes to the Gamro team. Talking about Gamro and putting it to us as a protector for musicians and hearing the, let me say, achievements of Gamro according to our 12-year old assistant. Musica. Yeah, what he was saying is Musica has assisted people, musicians, to get into police, and also if they want to organize a program. So Musica has become a home that is not too good to live in, but can take you to a different home to eat well. If Musica is really working well, then these musicians should be encouraged enough to stay in the music industry rather than coming for a letter to go and work in the police or any other service. And secondly, talking about protecting musicians and then also parents not allowing their wards to get into music. It's because these musicians are, to me, not protected. How many times are Musica executives on air talking about how musicians carry themselves and how they carry themselves are right? Whatever they are wearing, however they are making their hair. It is these problems that is making the people, families, not allowing their wards to go into music because they think somebody in long hair or locks is bad. And then when you switch on the radio, there are people who are speaking against these hairstyles. And then, an example of these people are pastors and radio presenters. Yeah, radio presenters. So, academia, let me talk, please. So this is important to me because if Musica is really talking about a problem I have gotten from your own words is that one, Musica is not a home for musicians, but to help musicians go into other professions. And then two, the problem with parents and musicians, Musica is not working on that. Thank you.
Edamwase. Amamre ni yezi ache. Beni vose. Abwa sansa pa ali a. Chire. Odi chire. Nami jo. Anam se obi nsen sama ni busu efo. Enza. Nana no ata gonya. Yehie mu ha anya boni. Da. Yesi ne ba bujo. No aboye nche. Nasi ebe busa. Ṣáà ń fẹ́ ní ìfowó yìí. Àwọn àyè tí ń tẹ̀ wọ́n kó tó gbé sóní ọ̀mù méjì sí ilé dídò bí ẹ̀sìn. Nídò. Oníwà ń sámà sí ìlú ẹ̀tí nyinaa. Ó ń sẹ́ni. Margaret. Ní ẹ̀kúsí afọ ní ẹ̀sàmà sí ìlú ẹ̀tí nyinaa. Ó ń sẹ́ni. Senior George. Fie amanie. There was two me fie. I want to know. Music department in California. Me and home me tie trade. Every department have a bit of the play. None matter to me. I don't know. Sapa mo moye. Na djumi ya ide si eri fi, yen fe ni dia me pe ti edi. Moye. Edi fi moye. Ato ye moye. Ato moye. Ana no mo se. Yen sapa. Yen sapa. Call my name, Mame water go come. You go kiss you down. If you see me on board, don't call my name, Mame water go come. You go kiss you down. Sunday, the end here. Anna, social adaro. Tiani abeno pa. Then you will say, day by day, my night. If you want begin again, you wanted to go to school. What a girl she gonna be. Hello to mom. Now mom will say my darling, I won't. Nothing's gonna be, nothing better pass. Mama go know, nothing better pass. Nothing's gonna be, nothing better pass. Mama go know, nothing better pass. Nothing's gonna be, nothing better pass. Mama go know, nothing better pass. Nothing's gonna be, nothing better pass. Mama go know. Yellow sisi Puti alfojo Wetin dey cause am o money palava.
Eriko n'abanyi o n'abanyi na ma Ghana ẹja ilẹ̀ mi lọ. Ẹyẹ wa báyìí ẹyẹ wa báyìí. Asani ẹ̀fẹ̀ tó aṣọ. Ẹ̀yọ́ bá kọ́ ẹ̀mí.
Ọdún tí na mi di arewe, sọ́dọ̀ yewe sẹ́wà máa lè. Ọdẹ sẹ́wà máa lè.
Ẹ̀sọ́ ló ti na wú sí ẹ̀sùn.
Hey, you go reach everybody. Missing and saying, not the shame for me, sir. Ọkọ mẹbi ẹgbẹ kò ní nàṣà, nàṣà ẹjọ wà ọ̀dà wà o. Ọdẹ ìṣẹ̀wà máa lè. Ọ̀dà mẹbi náà mi sún mi dáa. Onímìnira bí onímìnira ewé lájọ́ ẹ̀. Àjọ ẹ̀ ìṣẹ̀wà máa lè. Ọdẹ ìṣẹ̀wà máa lè. Ọdún tí náà mi sùn. Ọdún tí náà mi yẹ ẹ̀rọ. Ọdẹ ìṣẹ̀wà máa lè. Ọdẹ ìṣẹ̀wà máa lè.
Abeg, yellow sisi dey for one corner. Wey you put your hand for jaw, wetin be the problem?
Ilẹ̀bi.
Money palava.
Eriko wa báyìí. Eriko wa báyìí.
I say yellow, 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 yellow.
Yellow sister. Wetin dey cause am o? Money palava. Everybody, money palava. Money go pay you. Say,
Oh yes, of course. This is my first time attending it.
Have you ever heard about Pambo music?
No, I saw it in one of our WhatsApp page. Then I just attended it.
So how do you find the music tradition?
Oh, it's very nice. Like it's a new experience, and I haven't like this kind of song. I haven't heard it before, so like I'm enjoying it.
Do you think you will attend this
Oh sure, every day I will continue to come because it's very nice. It's a very nice experience. So I'm going to that. It's the classical one. Yeah, but I've seen different ones, so I'm enjoying it too.
So what's your name and your level and your products?
My name is Joseph Jamode. I'm in level 200 and I'm a Bachelor of Arts student. That's music and social work.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
What's your name and your products?
I'm Rans Forato, Bachelor of Arts, Public Administration, Sociology, and Info Studies, level 100 to be precise.
Did
you know about Pamwa music?
Not at all. This is my first time attending this program.
So how do you find the music tradition?
Oh, very exciting. I'm more into music. In fact, this is my first time.
But so what kind of music are you more interested in?
The classical and the pop one. Yeah.
So how would you define this kind of Pamwa music? How would you
It's very traditional. It's local, and I like local things. Even if tomorrow they organize, I'll come because I'm enjoying it now. It's very exciting. I'm very proud.
Hi Barbara.
Hi.
I know you, so I won't ask you. What is your name? What's your program of that?
I'm Barbara, music level 300 student, as well as social work.
Did you know Pamwa music before this?
I learned about Pamwa music this semester actually during my guitar class. We were taught about it, the origin and everything. So, yes.
Who was teaching you?
Dr. C.
So what do you think about the music tradition?
I think it should be done more often.
Which kind of music are you more interested in?
R&B and pop. Pop.
So what makes you more interested in the Pamwa?
It brings back old songs that you haven't heard in a very long time. Enjoy it.
Do you think you'll be coming again to the next?
Definitely. This is not my first section and this is not my last. Yes. And this is not my last.
But why don't you play? Because it is open for you.
Yeah. There wasn't enough guitars and there are enough guitars there. So
next time.
Yes, definitely. You're welcome.
Your name and course of study?
My name is Priscilla Guamampo. I'm a social worker.
What instrument do you play?
The guitar.
Do you know about the Pamwa music?
Yeah, I know about the Pamwa music.
And which music are you more interested in?
I was more interested in high life music and Afro-pop, but when I started learning Pamwa music, I fell in love with the Pamwa music.
What makes you interested in Pamwa?
Yeah, especially what makes me interested with the Pamwa music is their rhythm, especially with the Odon Soul power. Yes.
So do you play it on the guitar yourself?
Yeah, I play it on the guitar.
What is this?
That's a Pamwa.
What?
Pamwa.
Oh, okay, so this is your first time coming to one end?
No, I've been here several times.
And they always serve the Pamwa?
Yes, they serve the Pamwa. That's the Pamwa music. Whilst I'm drinking the Pamwa, you're enjoying the music as well.
So do you think this is a music tradition that people like you will enjoy?
Yes, definitely.
Why?
I think because aside we enjoying the palm wine and singing music, it also allows us to express ourselves. You not normally you singing it, but just saying stuff that comes in mind, and it's very good for us to shout more.
So thinking about our environment, sanitation, do you think this is a music tradition that we can use?
Yes.
Why?
Because I see the palm wine music as it doesn't just it's a type of music that laments on the issues that goes on in society. So actually, this is the very best music to talk about the issues that goes on in society.
Please, how long have you been making palm wine music?
I would say 7 to 8 years now, approximately. But at least 7 years.
So prior to this, what music were you making?
Oh, I was a chorister. I'm still a chorister, by the way, but then aside being a chorister, I wasn't really doing anything. But then I was exposed to high life, more high life, so I was quite familiar with some of the songs and all that.
So, look, as a performer of palm wine music and an experienced performer, what do you think about the environment, degradation? Do you think this is a music tradition that should help address these things?
Yes, it can, because we have to put more of this into songs
get the message across. And you know, palm wine, the nature of palm wine music is it's quite soothing. You have to pay attention to the lyrics and everything. You don't just dance to it like most of the popular songs. So palm wine has that ability. It has that potential to help us take some of these messages across, most of the messages across, be it climate change, be it deforestation, be it mining, sanitation, all those things.
You're a member of the Lemon Palm Wine Band?
Yes, please.
What is your role?
I'm a vocalist, and I also play the Prim Prim Sua, the box that's with the metal. It gives the groove. So I'm like the part of the groove, you know.
So the last question. Today we spoke about career sustainability. We're talking about sustaining palm wine music. Do you think in your effort to sustain the music tradition, it is sustaining you to your career?
Yes, it is. I think it has even affected us music-wise. I wouldn't even want to go much into the financial aspects, but then palm wine has also affected us in the way we write songs, the way we sing songs, the way we perform songs. You know when to actually sing a song that you feel carries a very important message, and you know when to, groove with the audience. And aside that too, we play most of these high-profile gigs. Palm wine attracts those kind of gigs. You know, it's not just pubs and we play awards, we play seminars and all that. And the reception is good because most of these international institutions and all of them, they love what they see and what they hear.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Please introduce yourself.
My name is Seth Kodo Kojampofo Asante. Officially Seth Kodo.
Are you a member of the Lemon Palm Wine Band?
Yes, I'm a member of the Lemon Palm Wine Band. I play the castanets, the rattles, and I sing. I'm a vocalist.
Prior to palm wine music, what other music were you more interested in?
Only rap. I used to do the how do I say or say so anyone no being crying at me, but now I'm.
How was your experience with the palm wine music?
I think rap has to do with words, sending a message across. But with palm wine music, I get to break the words down and I get to be heard because it's soothing. People like to hear you when you have something accompanying your voice to send a message across. So it's helping me in the end. I'm doing rap, but in another form, which is called palm wine music.
So thinking about palm wine allowing you to carry a message across, what do you think is the relationship between palm wine music and the environment?
Palm wine music and the environment. All right, so we actually have a song out, which is talking about paying your tax so we can affect change in the environment. I mean, in the community, and the community consists of the environment. So climate change, we sing about climate change. Ejakodimo sang about Inia trees, and we are also carrying on the tradition of passing it along to people that trees are really important and they affect climate. So we should take care of how we preserve and conserve our forests and our trees.
So my last question is, today this afternoon we spoke about career sustainability. And as part of the Palm Wine Band, your effort is to revitalize
palm wine music.
So you think in sustaining palm wine music is sustaining your career?
Yeah.
How is that?
Well, imagine I'm a palm wine performer and no one knows about palm wine music. Who is going to call me to perform? Who is going to invite me to come and perform at their events? No one. So we revitalize palm wine music. People get to hear about palm wine music. They call for performances. They are more interested in our craft, and you make money out of it, and the money is going to sustain us. So.
Is there anything you want to say to people who don't know about palm wine music?
Oh, well, if you don't know anything about palm wine music, search for the Legon Palm Wine Band on all social media handles. And you'll find us, and we can interact more about palm wine music. And also join us next time for It's a Gas in Como. All right. Okay.
Dr. Sunudo, please, we are told you are the founder of Living Palm Wine. Can you give us a little history? What got you into Palm Wine?
Okay, so I have been in palm wine music for some time. I've been a part of the community. You know, palm wine music is considered or is referred to by the young people as old people's music. So I was intrigued and I got into it when I started learning how to play the guitar. I was particularly interested in the Ghanaian guitar style. And I got interested in it and introduced to it by Ebo Taylor, who was then my guitar teacher. From then I happened to meet a lot of guitarists and I happened to meet a lot of Ghanaian musicians who played indigenous Ghanaian guitar. So that is how I got into palm wine music. Legon Palm Wine Band came as an experimentation. In that after participating in the community for so long, I observed that the people who were sustaining the music tradition were gradually fading off. And then it occurred to me that if Ejako Onimo, who happened to be the last popular figure in palm wine music, died, there was nobody else going to carry it on. So I thought it wise to begin an experiment and see whether it was going to resonate with the young guys. And interestingly, it caught on. I happened to find myself in a position where I could influence some of my students, and we took it from there. So that is how the Palm Wine Band came about.
Speaking about sustaining musical tradition, that is how do you sustain, not necessarily by the members of the but how do you think it has sustained, it helps you sustain your career?
So when we talk about revitalization or reviving a music tradition, it's not an event, it's a process. And I believe it is catching on. It has only just begun. And when we started, members of the band hardly knew anything about the palm wine. So we had to start really from scratch. We paid visits to Ejako Onimo as much as possible. I did a lot of research and I built the repertoire resources for the band. And incidentally, it led me to pursue a doctoral degree, which moved it from an experiment based into finding ways of revitalizing it. And in revitalizing it, we observed that there were so many opportunities for particularly these young guys who were part of the band. So for instance, whilst the students were in school, many of them were still playing, were still performing in the band, and were using the revenue they were generating to sustain themselves, in some cases to pay their fees. And they've taken it off from there. Now they become more professional. They are still harnessing their talent in the tradition. They are still growing. But what is interesting about this notion of revitalizing that process is that they found ways of making it relevant to their peers. So they've taken a tradition and then rethink it, find ways of making it, resonate with their peers. And then it is catching on gradually. Everybody you meet here in the department, for instance, now find a way of singing at least the palm wine tune, preferably maybe in the high life setting, but then you get a sense of them wanting to go back to learn their root. In a sense, through the palm wine music thing we started, majority of them have become professionals. And increasingly finding ways of staying in the industry. And we started it about 8 years ago, and they've still been doing. This is the only thing they did, particularly the members of the band. And I see traits of younger ones joining the tree. So in sustaining, in thinking about the sustenance of career, I mean, like I'm saying, it's not an event, it's just like a revitalization. But you can see traits of the young musician now rethinking the notion of a popular musician in Ghana and finding ways to value the talent they have, to hone their craft, and to think of other possible ways of sustaining themselves.
Sure. It's been a pleasure. I see I'm very tired from this morning and
Yeah, you know.
Thank you very much.
But it's been fun. Thank you.
So tell us something about what
So, during my master's program at the University of Ghana, I was interested in the career sustainability of musicians. How are musicians sustaining their career? And as at that time, my main case study was Ochame Kwame, a popular musician in Ghana. But after starting my doctoral program, I happened to become aware of the Humanities Engaged program at the University of Pittsburgh, where it focuses on encouraging doctoral students to put their research in the industry. So going back to my master's thesis and thinking about music career sustainability, the first thing I could think about was Legompa One Band, a band I was already familiar with. I was watching their performances, and what triggered me was this is a band in the effort of revitalizing the music tradition. So I was tempted to connect the sustainability or the revitalization of a music tradition and what it has to offer the musicians. Thus, I was interested in immersing myself into the Legon Palm One Band to help put my research findings into practice, where we can test whether the things I saw while working with Ochame Kwame are applicable to the Legon Palm One Band, because these two musicians are different. One is making hip life music, and this is more of a traditional music. So this is a test or a way for me to put my research findings into practice, and I saw that Legon Palm One Band to be a fertile music ensemble to explore such possibilities.
You've been with them for the past 3 years, which has culminated in this workshop, incidentally coinciding with your monthly performance session. What has been the experience so far?
So far it has been really interesting and also challenging, because one thing I've learned is the ensemble is embedded in a community, and the community is also embedded in the music industry, and the political economy of the music industry affects how the ensemble operates. Preparation for the workshop, the circle, the monthly performance hasn't been easy, but I realized that through this process I'm learning on how to manage human beings, not just musicians, but how to deal with human beings, timing, different attitudes. So it has been an interesting experience getting to understand how the music industry and its political economy affects a band such as the Legon Palm One Band. So I would like to take it from after this workshop. The next is to work on the ensemble's digital platforms, social media and YouTube. So there I aim at working with the band members and the leaders to explore ways of getting more interaction on social media, especially YouTube, to get our views out there. Afterwards, the idea is to, besides what my immersive fellowship requires, I aim to write an academic journal. And in as much as it's going to be academic, there is the intention to also make it available to the industry people, those who are not more academically inclined, and to make some of these findings, these experiences also available for upcoming musicians, not necessarily Palm One musicians, but musicians in the industry, to know that some of the things they go through, the challenges they go through, are not very different from other music industries, but has got to do with how you maneuver and how you negotiate some of these challenges. So the idea is to come out with write-up, both academic and for industry personnel like musicians. Thank you very much. My name is Josh Brew, PhD candidate, University of Pittsburgh, ethnomusicology. And this has been my Summer Immersive Fellowship, Part 1. See you!